All right. Hello, my name is Olivia Allison, and on behalf of the Center of Excellence for Hospitality Resilience, I am pleased to welcome you to today's webinar on maximizing attendee experience and interaction in the era of COVID-19. Thank you all so much for joining us today. This is a webinar series intended to support small tourism and hospitality businesses as they navigate these unprecedented times as a result of COVID-19. By exploring topics related to operations, health and safety, marketing, risk management, contingency planning, and innovation, we hope to provide meaningful and relevant insight in relation to current small business issues to help you understand and respond to the changing landscape. This series is brought to you by the Center of Excellence for Hospitality Resilience, a joint initiative of Temple University's School of Sport, Tourism, and Hospitality Management and Temple's Small Business Development Center. The presentation is recording and a follow-up document will be sent to all the attendees. All the attendees have been muted, but we do encourage everyone to post any questions you have in the chat box or in the Q&A function, and we'll get those answered for you. All right, so now I will turn the floor over to today's panelist, Christine Cleaver.
Thank you very much. So I am super excited about this subject matter because I believe right now it's the area that we have the ability to grow the most. And I know I was listening to a podcast this morning and they were talking about when you stop growing, you almost stop living. And if you think about it, it's the same thing, you know, kind of with your vegetable garden, that's how it goes. So I'm really excited because I feel like this is the area where we're going to be able to spark some innovation and some different way of doing things. So just super excited about this. So the objectives today are going to be talking about experience, engagement, and energy. I realize at this point everybody's kind of very zoomed out, and you know, how do we do COVID era events that, you know, when you go to an event, it's something that you want to interact with people and you want that experience and that energy. And how do you do that? How do we as planners do this and enable our participants, our vendors, our suppliers, our staff? How do we do this so that everybody has a good experience? It's extremely unique now because everybody is going to experience things differently because they're in different locations or they're spaced from each other. So just kind of going to look at things from many perspectives and kind of discuss some successes that I've been seeing, and then also some other ideas. So first off is the experience. So it's paramount right now that everybody has a good experience because people want experience. I know, I'm doing this webinar from my home. I teach from my home right now. Most of the things that I'm experiencing are from my home with kind of a touch point to the outside world versus, I have been going to a lot of, fall things that are happening outside in, different restaurants and harvest festivals that are doing a pretty good job with being able to keep things distanced as well as create that experience. On Saturday, I went to a harvest festival that was actually pretty cool. They had music set up and they had these little areas that you could stand, and each area could have 4 people in it that were 6 feet apart. It was really very well creative and very well thought out. But with that experience, we're trying to create an experience and interaction and energy, but at the same token, we have to be safe with it. So it's a kind of interesting dynamic, and one that I think a lot of time we need to make sure with the experience that we are managing expectations. So with the experience now, there is a process, and it is really important that we are looking at the process of the experience before, during, and after. So what is happening before, what is happening during, what is after? When we used to do things before, the before was where people were doing the registration or they were getting the ticket or they were getting other things, and it wasn't as paramount as the during. The before now is almost as paramount as the during of the experience, because you're setting the expectations. You're almost providing the plan for people to actually be involved in the experience during, and then after you're kind of like wrapping it up, kind of in a bow, so it is a stepped process. Where before, many times that process could really just been, the experience could have just been during, there wasn't really a touch point after. So we are lucky now that we have multiple now touch points. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I was not missing anything. So like I had said, the before, you're almost, for individuals, creating a plan of consumption. You're explaining what's going to happen. You're giving them some ideas as to how to experience it, which is unique from when, for a concert, an outdoor event, a meeting, people knew what the meeting was about or the concert was about, so they knew what they were going to experience. Well, now, because they don't know what format or what is going to happen, you almost have to give them that roadmap of how to experience, what to do, how to do different things, how to prepare for it. So it's really very paramount that your communication channels before not only have really good messaging, but also creates a need and a want and a desire for the person to attend the event. So you're giving them more of a look inside the event than you had in the past. So I have an example here because this was really unique for me. I am a Temple grad. My family homecoming is a tradition for us every year. And this year we had to do homecoming. We had to hoot at home, is what they were saying. So it was really interesting as to how Temple handled this. And I thought they did a really good job with it. And it's something that I wanted to kind of step you through the process. I always find when I'm discussing something like this, if I have it more of a concrete example, everybody understands it a little bit more. So Temple did a really good job with their messaging out to their alumni via it was email, they had it on social media, they had all the different things, and they were going through and did a really nice day. You could do thing as a group. You could, what days, all the events, everything was able to be filtered and gone through.
Christine, we're still looking at the presentation slide for this.
Oh, you are? Okay. Hmm. Now, oh, you know what? Actually, all right, hang on. Sorry. I think I have to go. There we go. Now, good?
Yes, you're good
Okay,
now.
fabulous. Thank you very much for that assistance, Olivia. So Temple did a really good job with this because they gave you different channels. So you could do things as a group. You could do things in days. The different types of events. They listed out all their events. They did timing. They gave you whether it was online. They gave you a description of things, how to do things. They gave you at home and on demand activities, which was really a very interesting thing because usually homecoming is it's a family it's a family event. And how do you do homecoming at home with your family that's under the age of 10? They did a really nice job. They did coloring pages. They actually gave you a tea that you could carve a pumpkin using the Temple tea. So they not only gave you the experience of what homecoming was going to be, they gave you the roadmap to experience it, which is really a unique thing now. But it's also for us as planners another kind of awesome touch point that we have with our attendees. We're able to give them more information. We're able to give them different ways to do things. We're able to look at things from different perspective. So it was really very, very nice, very in detailed. And there's pretty much anything from anyone. If you wanted to do a run, it was on there. Tyler did their art and jewelry show. This was pretty neat too. A lot of the alumni associations usually do a happy hour the Friday before homecoming, and they were all really unique with it. Some actually hired a chef and actually did like a Zoom of prepping your snacks for the big game day. So it was really a unique thing and a different experience that is something that you've never had in the past. So while some people would look at it as a replacement, it wasn't. It was a unique experience of something that you had not done before, and because of the way they served it to you, you were able to enjoy it, and you could pick and choose what you wanted to do, which was great. And they kept things were followed up with. There was a lot of great social media too, where you could hashtag things and post them there. So there's all sorts of different ways so different people could experience things. But again, a roadmap to where you were going. So I just switched screens. Did I go back to the presentation?
No, we're still on the temple page.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to have to switch, I think, between the two. Okay. So now during this was the actual, and I'm going to take you again through the actual event, but during is the event itself, what's happening, what's going on. And a lot of people are kind of following this model right now. The Thanksgiving Day Parade in Philadelphia is following this model. They're actually asking you beforehand to create a float out of a box and take a picture of it. And they're actually going to, day of the parade, do a virtual parade with your family's float. So just a little unique way to do it. But again, they are serving to their constituents a way and a plan for engagement and consumption. If you don't do that plan, it's hard for people to step and follow and actually then be able to engage in the event because they don't understand it. So it's just a little bit more educating and showing people what to do and what happens. So for the example I was using about Temple's homecoming, during then what happened is Temple was really very creative in what they did. They actually served everything very via their YouTube channel. Another thing is with this, you have to make things very simplified. You can't make it complicated. So during, they had a whole pregame that you were able to watch via their YouTube channel. And then you actually watched the game. It was a little unique because of TV rights. And this had not, this was, just something that kind of happened. You actually watched the broadcast announce, which was a little odd, but they did do some really cool stuff inside the actual broadcast where you could be hashtagging. One area they did was, show us your temple pride with your t-shirts, show us how you're celebrating homecoming. So they were really very thought-provoking on how they got you part of the actual event, but from your home. So it's just kind of a little bit different thinking on things as to what happens. And I'll do this real quick and then I'll just bounce between the two screens. So, sorry, I don't know why this is doing it. So they did it via their YouTube channel. And what I said a while ago, everybody's a little zoomed out right now. And Zoom, and I know I'm on Zooms all day long. By the end of the day, my eyes are like bugging out of my head because I'm staring at the screen all day. So what are some other ways that you can be serving things? Well, during the broadcast, they had their whole presentation on YouTube, and it was great because you can kind of come and go and consume as you felt fit. So just another way to do this. Gift of life. So gift of life, my father passed away last year and we were able to donate some of his organs. And Gift of Life does a ceremony every year to honor the people that that gave organs during that year. And they do the ceremony, and they felt it's really important for the families for closure issues and stuff. So we got an invitation in the email or in the mail, and they usually do this, and they're actually going to do a celebration still, and they're going to again do it via YouTube. So they pre-film everything, and then they put it up, and and again they gave you a whole plan of action for consumption. So in the invitation, bring your family together. They said bring your family together if able, and and it's at 5 o'clock on a Saturday night. Make your loved one's favorite meal. It was really nicely done as to how they put it together, and then via their YouTube channel is how they're going to actually show it. So a lot of this is just really kind of just thinking outside the box, and what just being unique and being different, but again thinking about how people are consuming things or over consuming some virtual things right now. So then after, so this is a big one. And this is something I encourage people to do or pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID, is always making sure you're doing surveys and feedback. It's really, this is super important right now so that we get a read on how people are comfortable consuming things. People, and again, I keep talking about the Zoom fatigue. And as a person who is in the classroom with students, we are in week 9, and I can see the engagement level waning. I can see kind of things dropping off a little bit. So last week I pulled an audible, and I decided this week to do all asynchronous to give everybody a little bit of a break. But that is because I read what was going on with the students. It's really important not only to be surveying about the event, but getting feedback too on people's comfort level and how they want to consume things. So I last night went to via my home a theater production that was done, which was pretty unique, and they actually filmed everybody in advance and then actually put it together, and it was something we watched. This morning when I woke up, I actually had a survey, which I was pretty excited about because I was talking about this today. I had a survey of, they were asking me, did I enjoy the consumption of this? Did I enjoy the the model that it was in, all these things. So it was very interesting questions, and they're trying to formulate their plan for their next show. So it, definitely definitely asking people not only about the product but also about their consumption, and things were registration easy? Was it easy to get to our site? Did you enjoy, what are things you enjoyed? What are things that you would like to see more of? That's really important because we're trying to create a unique experience. And the more feedback we have, the better. So this example leads you to Temple's site. They also sent out an email. So the next area is engagement. So, engagement is really super hard right now, and we all know that. So I, over the past several months, have been looking into best practices and, talking about with my students different things that work, different things that don't work. And again, when I started the presentation off, I was so excited because this is the innovation part. And there is some really unique things that are starting to happen, and being very innovative, with some products that were already in existence, but then some products that are currently here as well. So innovation items, e-cards, that you no longer, and you may know this, but you no longer have to send a card to someone. It can be served to them via email. And this leads into the next one, which is the food vouchers, which you can do through DoorDash and Grubhub. So if you are having, and I see this a lot because I sit on a lot of trainings and a lot of, I just actually did a talk with our international hospitality educators, and people were from all over the world. And something I'm hearing in those conferences are like, this is great, but they only give us like 15 minutes to eat, or we're feeling disconnected. Well, if part of your registration you did either a DoorDash or a Grubhub gift card, which you actually can serve through those apps now, people could order food and they can actually be eating together, and it forms kind of an engagement. And it's kind of a little segmented because everybody's all over, but they're able to actually have the food at the same time being served food. Come on, let's face it. When we go to a conference, that's kind of some of the fun of it, is sitting and eating with people and interacting and not having to cook and being in a new environment. So let's create, this new environment and be able to have them be served something. And I have heard that they are in the works to be able to actually put a customized card in with the meal as well, if it's purchased through their system. So I think that's a nice way to engage people in what was a norm and now is a new norm. Another thing that I've seen is a coffee bar, and this was pretty unique and pretty cool. It looks like a candy bar, and this can be delivered to someone's home. And again, with this, that means that when people are registering, you're repurposing. So you're repurposing your food and beverage monies into something like this. The other thing that you can do with this is, some people may want to partake and some people may not. So you could just have a registration could be just your straight registration or your registration with amenities. So if you have the registration, so the coffee bar thing is pretty cool. And I'm sorry, if you do then the registration with amenities, you're then taking that amenity money, and these are the areas that you're spending some of those funds on. So the coffee bar was neat. It looked like a candy bar, and it gets delivered and it opens up and it has like a coffee mug. It has a pour over sachet of coffee, some creamers, and then a candy bar in it. And one of the breaks was a candy bar, which I was a pretty unique thing. And I have to say, it was really engaging and really fun. And everybody at this conference that day, and this was the international one I just did, was talking about the coffee bar. And then they took it one step further. They, it was, post a photo of your mug. What did you make with your coffee? Did you put the chocolate in your coffee? So it was really neat how they kind of formed the interaction. Another thing is something pretty simple, and this is pretty inexpensive to produce and also inexpensive to ship because it's light, is a puzzle. I've gotten a few puzzles over the past couple months with different things that I've been doing as either a thank you gift or an engagement gift. The coolest one was a puzzle and the puzzle was only 25 pieces, but it came to me and I had to put it together because it had a clue in it, and I was working on a team to unlock like a mystery. It was one of those kind of those mystery interaction things, and it was really fun. And I keep going back to, oh wow, check that out. That was a great way. And it arrived at my house. It arrived at my home 2 days before the conference, and it said don't open until. And then, but everybody was really excited about it. And I put the puzzle together not within the Zoom, but then I went into the Zoom. So it was a way to engage and a way to spark the excitement before I actually got to the conference. Again, that pre kind of consumption planning. Word find, word find books, those are always a really good interaction. And what's fun with that is you can also tie the word find in to what's going on, or even a session or a brainstorm. And that's something too that can be served via email. So that's something you wouldn't even have to Send. The good old fidget spinner, I'm actually going to lift this up because this actually just arrived today and I'm pretty excited about this. I plan, or I teach all my classes an experiential learning component, and my senior level class actually plans an event for our school, and they're planning a networking event this fall. And we were talking about a little gift that we could give to the speakers. Now, remember with this too, and I know many of you are up against this as well, is there's a lot of logistics involved in any of this. I live 60 miles away from where I teach. My students are all over, not really anywhere near. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to simply do this so it's not inundating, but yet is still engagement and experience? So we got the spinner, the fidget spinners. They were delivered to my home. Got a customized thank you card, and I'm going to be able to write out thank yous and get them in, and I will actually mail them the day of the event, so then they will get to the participants within a few days. We did the fidget spinner because everybody's kind of at their desk right now, and the students are were pretty innovative with what their messaging was. You know, when you're sitting at your desk and fidgeting, please think of us. And you know, it was pretty. I was pretty impressed with their thinking and their creativity on something that is engaging. So those are just some items. There's a million more. Those are some ones that I have personally experienced over the past several months that I thought were really innovative. But I will be honest, this is the area that the innovation is going to spark. This is especially as we are going into the winter months where we're not going to be able to be outside and meeting outside as much as we once were. This is going to be, kind of where things take off a little bit more.
Christine, we
Then,
have a
yes,
question.
yes,
Back when you were talking about surveys, so the
yes.
question is, do you survey attendees only, and what questions provide the most useful feedback?
Awesome. Thank you, Olivia. Olivia probably could answer this for me because she's working on another project with me. um, I'll be honest, I survey everyone, right down to my staff. So I survey the attendees, I survey the vendors, I survey everyone because not everybody consumes things the same. So I like to survey as many people as I can. I don't use the same survey for everybody. I will segment it off for the different areas. But asking questions that are not yes or no are the best. Did you consume this via YouTube? That's yes or no. What was your experience like consuming via YouTube? So it's more open-ended type things. Are there other platforms that you feel consumption might be better? You want more open-ended where people are giving you, but you also too want to balance the opinion versus giving you more concrete things that will assist you going forward. So that's kind of my advice on that. But I survey everyone, and that does not mean that you have to create a survey and send it out. You could get your vendors on a quick call and do a debrief, and that's how you survey. That's how I survey my students. We do so for our event, which is next week. Yesterday we did a pre-con. On November 5th we will do the post-con for the event, and that is where we will survey and go through everything. So not only will we go through the event, I will also say to them, okay, you saw different things that were happening, you saw different things that were going on. What are some things that you would recommend for the future? What are some things that you see? I keep my notes in my iPhone. I probably look like like a mad scientist, because anytime I see anything, I will copy the link and I'll put it in my notes, because I feel like, you know what, somewhere along the line, even if I'm discussing something or I'm thinking about something, I'll go back to that and I'll research the product. I'll look into different things. So I always say, with this, lifelong learning and, kind of being aware of what's going on and what's happening definitely helps you going forward. I hope that helped. So these are some tools for actually engagement on site. Breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are huge, especially in this over Zooms, we're not interacting with each other. Everybody wants interaction right now. I see it all the time with my students. I now hop on to a Zoom 15 minutes before class because they want to interact and talk. And it is the first time ever that my students are also staying after the class where they want to interact and talk. And it's not necessarily just about class. They want to talk about different things. And so people want that interaction. So breakout rooms are huge, and it's a great way, especially if you're doing a conference and networking. We all know networking is really hard to begin with. Virtual networking is super hard. So doing the breakout rooms is an automatic kind of way to put people together to spark a conversation. I was in a great webinar a few weeks ago, and I got put into a breakout room with individuals that now I'm pretty much in constant contact with about different things, different ways that they're doing things. It's a great way to interact with people, engage with people, and automatically be able to network. So highly recommend the breakout rooms. And that does not necessarily mean it has to be a Zoom breakout room. There's also, I'm going to go into it in a second, there's apps that have breakout rooms. You can do, different ways. There's, Google has Hangouts. There's all sorts of platforms out there that you can use for breakout rooms. Polling. So this is a really fun, interactive way to get people engaged in what you're talking about. Zoom has polling, poll everywhere. I'm going to do a Kahoot with you. So this is a great one, and Kahoot has all sorts of amazing features now. And they have trainings that you can do with Kahoot. So, I keep talking about every time I do one of these, not reinventing the wheel. There are a ton of things out there and a ton of platforms, a ton of ways that you can engage things that already exist. Kahoot now has, I think it's called Kahoot University, that they have, if you're looking for icebreakers that you want to do at your event, or you're looking at different polls you want to do, they have things already built in their system. And that way, if you're kind of a smaller organization, you can actually be able to use some of their platforms already, and you don't actually have to go recreate the wheel. So I'm going to go into Kahoot right here. Hang on, let me stop share and reshare. This is just something fun. So what happens is it'll load up. Oh, sorry, I'm going to turn that down so it's not blaring everybody out. And you actually can, if you want your folks to participate, they can either use the app or they can join, and you can do this now if you would like. You can join at kahoot.it, and you put in the pin. And then what happens is people can join the game, and you can actually ask different questions. This works really, really well. Sorry, if you are, this works super well if you're trying to engage people in a conversation, or say you're doing a seminar, or you could even use this too as some of your survey. So the one that would come up here, people joined in, is I'm asking you your favorite fruit, and you can pick from a banana. I think it's a banana, an orange, all sorts of different things. But then at the end, it's really kind of fun. Hold on one second. Sorry. I have some players, so I'm going to start it now so everybody can see it. So it's your favorite fruit. So it asks you in quiz form, which is your favorite fruit, and people can choose. And then what happens is after the allotted seconds, it actually will come up and show you a poll. And this is a great way to kind of in a fun manner engage people. People are always, everything can be so serious, and this is a great way for a little bit of on in person. Oh, we have a group of banana lovers here, which is great. So just something interesting. But this is also a way that you could poll people about different things that are going on. But just a way to break things up in the engagement sector of things. Sorry. Another one is social media. So social media, you could pick a hashtag, and people can be using that hashtag on any platform. And you shouldn't limit it, because then you can go in and type in that hashtag, and you can see all those photos. And maybe you're doing an outdoor festival, people are using the hashtag, and you're able to use their photos up on a screen. Again, very simple way, very inexpensive way for engagement. So, the event that I'm planning with my students, they decided for the hashtag of grow from here, which is pretty neat. Like, how do we grow from here, from this point that we're at? So they picked the hashtag, and they're doing some fun contesting as well. They're doing grow from here. They're actually doing a photo contest of show us your at-home workspace. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can do this for engagement. The other thing I encourage you to look into is apps. And I actually have this that will go in the paper that'll go to you afterwards. There is close to 40 event apps that are out there. So there's all sorts of different apps, all sorts of different ways to use them. These are just a few. I have Hoova linked. That's the app that we use actually in our classroom. They have breakout sessions, they have sub sessions. What's great with that is everybody, and Cvent as well does this, and it's wonderful. Everybody can create a profile. So there's organic networking going on and organic engagement. You can, be in a session with someone, and someone asks a question, and you can actually email them through the app. Hey, I heard you were from the Carlisle car show, and you asked this question. I'm curious, and you're able to organically connect through the app. Another engagement tool than just being on the platform. And then Wheel of Names, this is another one that hold on one second, I just have to switch again. This is just kind of fun, because it's another one again that can provoke some sort of I do this a lot of times with my students at this part of the semester. So here, veggies are the winner. I will actually put my students' names in here, and I use this for participation. I'll run the wheel, and okay, tell me about your article. It's kind of a fun way, more of a contesting way. But again, this is a conversation starter and an engagement tool.
Christine, we have a question.
Okay.
So when it comes to all these virtual aspects, can you speak to technical issues with the internet, specifically when it comes to dealing with an older age group that might have issues using the different platforms?
Yes, I can. You should definitely, when I go back to that consumption plan, see if they're able to consume with a buddy. I live this on the daily. I am my mom's caretaker, and my mom is in that age bracket where things can be very scary. And many times, what will happen is we'll walk her through it, and it takes a couple of times, but she's now consuming church on her iPad on a Sunday morning. So you also too could, in that vein, almost have some trainings, and that's a really other good way to engage, because if you assign potentially a buddy, and I realize a lot of you have a small staff, so I totally understand that. So maybe you can, a group of volunteers could help you out with that engagement area. It is hard. It's very hard. It's hard. It's hard internet right now. So I always say right now that you have to have multiple plans with this, because people can have internet issues. People can have. I have two internet streams in my house just because of all the consumption that happens in my own home. So it definitely can be an issue. So, don't put, a whole lot of, make sure things can be consumed again, wheel of names, could be with one group and something else with another. But if it is an older population, definitely, having a buddy. The other thing you can do is you can work with this population if your event's not too big, where they're either consuming something that is actually paper that you would email to them or mail to them, in which then they can follow along kind of with step-by-step instructions, which are very important. So again, it's that whole platform, getting them comfortable and where they need to be. I am finding that, with the group that was kind of adamant about not using the technology, they want the interaction too. So I think they're kind of stepping a little bit out of their comfort zone in order to get that interaction. So energy, this is the big one. I know it's so hard right now, the energy end of things, and how do we do this, and how do we keep up the energy, and how do we keep going forward with this? So I wanted to approach this with thinking big, but with a small cost involved. So this first one that I have as an example was a pretty neat example. And as we know, Broadway is now not happening until the end of until May of 2021, and many things are following suit on that. And that, it's hard because that is that's a large part of our industry. People want to still consume, people want to see the curtain rise. So this example, which I will put in there, was a virtual opening night in the spring, and this was from a high school. And it really, the pandemic closed the schools 3 weeks before the show was supposed to open. So this director really went above and beyond. This is a really neat production, and again, I will put this in there so that you can consume it on your own. But he got quotes from people. He got quotes from the person who actually wrote Tuck Everlasting, and the person actually filmed themselves on an iPhone and sent it in, and it went into this production. So it was a virtual opening night. The show did not go on because the show didn't happen, but the show did end with the opening number, and it was sung virtually via all the individuals in the production. So this did not cost anything to produce. It was, just a lot of photos and a montage of putting it all together, but it really had an amazing energy to it. It had an amazing feel, and all these students that were missing out on the show came away just so energized and so excited about such an amazing product. All right, and I'm so sorry, I have to keep going back and forth here. Oh, wrong one. So super users are enthusiasts. So this is another one that is interesting. So XM Radio has every Friday for one of their stations. They used to do a Musical Row happy hour, which was an in-person happy hour. And when I talk about tourism and hospitality for the city of Nashville, this was a major thing. People would fly in from all over just for this happy hour. Well, people wanted the happy hour. So they now do a virtual happy hour meet and greet every week. And you actually can RSVP in order to actually be part of this virtual happy hour. They still actually put it on air, and people are feeling they're actually liking this almost better because they are actually getting an additional touch point with these hosts. So, you know, your super users, your users that you see come year after year. Why couldn't you do this with the president or CEO of your company, or for the Philadelphia Flower Show, Sam that designs everything? Have a virtual meet and greet with Sam where he gets to talk through the actual program and product. Really kind of unique, but also creates a lot of excitement and momentum, especially, where we are right now. It creates it going forward, and, and anyone can do this. This is kind of something, it's something special, and something, or if you're unveiling something, invite your super users, invite your people, or just invite some random folks that just bought tickets. Good way to engage your audience. And then my last energy one. So this one is really unique. And I'm sorry, am I sharing my screen or?
Yep, we can see it.
All right, awesome. So, and this happened to me this week, and I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was really an amazing, exciting thing. So I'm a huge coffee enthusiast. I love coffee, and I bought some unicorn coffee 2 weeks ago. And I had read about unicorn coffee because it's non-GMO, very sustainable, all these different things. However, I did not know that Sean Johnson East and Andrew East are the actual creators of unicorn coffee. So I just bought the coffee, and I got the coffee. And last Friday, I received an invitation to have a chat with Sean and Andrew on Monday. And this is how they are actually doing events now for their coffee company, which I thought was really unique. It was like this VIP invitation that I got. It was really a simple Zoom in which they were sitting there drinking a coffee, and they encouraged you to bring your coffee as well. Again, just a way to engage and energize your consumer. And as I was on this, a million things were going through my head. Oh, wow, you know what? Events could do this. This could be like the VIP ticketing, or, you can, and in today's day and age, artists and, all the people that we're working with, everybody's in the same boat and still wants to be able to interact. So it's a great way to interact on a very personal level, and also buy in for, some loyalty and engagement. So I thought it was really cool. I mean, and literally this thing lasted a half an hour. It was only 20 people. And apparently they do this every Monday. And I bought the coffee 3 weeks ago, and they just go in and randomly pick some people. So I thought it was kind of neat. It was like a level playing field. Like you could have bought, you could have bought the simplest ticket or the largest ticket. If you are really into an artist, it's kind of a unique way, and also a unique, a unique way to energize people. So just thought I just wanted to share that because it was something kind of recently that happened to me. Oops, sorry. So that's kind of my engagement, my engagement, my energy, my enthusiasm for all the different things that are going on, and trying to maximize the experience overall for the attendees, for the vendors, for the staff, for everybody, because it is really important that we're doing that. So are there any questions?
Yeah, any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. While people are typing in their questions, I am going to post a link in the chat box to some of the previous recordings we've had from these webinars, and you can also check out any future recordings. We also have one next Wednesday at the same time. And I'm also going to post some sources for the Temple's SBDC and a lot of the services that they offer as well.
And I'm going to post this survey link for you. So this is a really quick 4-question survey, and we really appreciate everyone filling that out. And it's also required by our funding in order to continue these no-cost programming that we offer. So thank you in advance.
And it looks like we do have a question. How can you effectively leverage social media on pre-post engagement?
Oh, that's a good one. So on pre-engagement, that is where you want to start setting the stage of what's going on and what's happening. And even if it's something, you know, as simple as taking a photo of the plan. And I know when I've done some of the virtual events that I'm doing, I actually am taking a picture of my desk, which is so different than when you actually do in person. So it's really kind of letting people in to what's going on. But again, making sure that you are using your hashtags for your event and using all your connection points so they connect together. It also too, it's a good way to post links for ticket purchases, registration, all of those things are, you know, it's a good way because people are pretty much doing everything from their devices these days.
All right, well, if anyone does have further questions, you're free to stick around and ask them, but just thank you everybody for coming and joining us today, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope to see you again. Thank you.